Welcome to Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in the San Fernando Valley. Today we are joined by Fred Gaines. He is a councilman in the city of Calabasas, where I grew up. So I congratulate you on 25 years as a municipality. I graduated just before the incorporation, but my parents are still there, my sister's still there. Tell us about 25 years in Calabasas.
Well, then you and your family know what a great community it is.
Yes.
And we have, it was a great community before it was a city,
Right.
but cityhood has really not only given us political independence, but the ability to do some things that, you know, when you're just an unincorporated part of the county, you don't get the focus. So
I gotta say, that's an understatement. Yeah. I mean, when I grew up, it was really just horse country, and that the Commons is an off-the-chart destination mall. I mean, Calabasas High School has become a destination school. I mean, there's just so many things that make Calabasas so desirable.
Yeah. And on a municipal level, we were able to do a lot of things. We've developed 7 parks in the city. There really weren't any parks in that area. We developed the Old Town and into the
Commons.
Commons.
Fresh Cantina was still there. I mean, that's iconic.
And that was the beginning of it. But we were able to create a whole area down there for shopping and dining and gathering. A library. We never had a library.
You never did.
You might have remembered
did.
the bookmobile came around every once in a while.
I love that bookmobile to Chaparral. We used to go to Chaparral Elementary School.
Which was great, but now we have a beautiful state-of-the-art library. And so, you know, it really is a testament to bringing government to the people and locally. And just that difference allows the place to be that much more beautiful, to provide those kinds of services directly to our residents, and it's become a great destination. And
a part of the challenge, though, for residents of Calabasas is that when I was growing up in the last century, to get into the city was a bit of a commute, but it was doable. Traffic has become quite impacted in the San Fernando Valley on the Ventura Freeway. So a lot of residents of the West San Fernando Valley were hopeful and are hopeful about Measure M, which passed, and to remind our viewers, Measure M, a transportation sales tax that will fund projects in Los Angeles County. Do you have a sense as to how much Measure M, given its passage, will help the Calabasas area?
You know, I supported Measure M, but with mixed emotions.
I understand.
Measure M pretty much charts out what kind of rail transit and big transit projects we're going to do throughout LA County for the next 50 years. And what it pretty much decides is that along the 101 freeway corridor, we're not getting a train. We're not getting a subway. We're not getting a light rail.
Which is so surprising because it feels natural. Or along Ventura Boulevard, it feels natural.
Well, and like I've said, if you lived in suburbs like Calabasas, Segura, Westlake, in Chicago, in New York, in almost any major city, you would likely have access. One of your options would be to get on a train and go downtown or go to some of the business centers. We're not going to have that.
Why?
Well, there was, you know, the community was mixed. There was opposition to it. And the thought of transit has changed in some respect, the focus. In the past years, it was to build out to the suburbs, make sure that those people could get on trains and come into the city. The focus now is to build where there's density. So to build more in the inner area of the city, allow for density so people can actually not have cars, and they could live in West LA and Mid-City and areas where there's a higher usage. And so it's, you know, to some extent it's an efficiency type thing. Now, what Measure M did do, the reason I have mixed opinions, is Measure M and Measure R before it provided a percentage of the money to every municipality. So in Calabasas, you know, getting even a fraction of 1% of the money allows us to do tens of millions of dollars of projects. We are currently doing a brand new bridge at Lost Hills. We had a little 2-lane bridge. It was a choking point for our residents, for our business community. We're going to build a brand new bridge. A lot of that money came from Measure R. We've done improvements on Las Virgenes Road, on Mulholland Highway. We have a new park and ride lot going into our Old Town that'll provide not only parking for our businesses in Old Town, but allow people to get onto an express bus and go along Ventura Boulevard, go downtown, hook into the transit system.
At the same time, there's no question that whether you live in Calabasas, Woodland Hills, Tarzana, Reseda, you know which way I'm going, into the city, getting to that Sepulveda Pass can be a challenge, and getting over it is even a greater event. Part of Measure M did provide a very significant amount of money for some type of tunnel to connect the San Fernando Valley, which includes Calabasas, to the west side. That could be transformative, truly, even for Calabasas, even for Agora and Westlake. I mean, what's your sense of that, a tunnel through the Sepulveda Pass?
Well, I think it is going to be it's something that we've talked about for years, and not only just the tunnel, but the connection along that 405 corridor,
right,
to be able to have transit through there, to be able to get into West LA, to get to the airport potentially.
Of course.
That was a missing link. You know, the transit we built so far was geared towards downtown.
Right.
You could take it to the east end of the valley and head into Hollywood and downtown, but really nothing to cross that Sepulveda Pass. So I think that is, look, you vote for it not necessarily because you're going to have a train walking distance from your house,
right,
but because if we don't build these projects, it's only going to get worse.
What about that last mile question, especially for folks in Calabasas as an example? Because look, you got Warner Center. I mean, there's ways to connect, but how do you get from Calabasas to Warner Center?
Well, that is an issue. We do have buses that do that.
Okay.
And then this new park and ride lot, one of the keys is
mentioned that.
you're going to be able to park in Old Town Calabasas, so park within a few minutes from your home, and get on to buses, one of which, the most regular of which, is going to take you to the transit center in Warner Center, and you're hooked into the system.
Okay.
You know, is it as good as being able to walk right to the end of the system? Of course not. But we're going to try to make
Right.
those connections as best we can.
I want to speak about a statewide proposition that passed, known as Prop 64. Marijuana is now legal for recreational purposes in the state of California. Not a big surprise, folks expected its passage. We had legalized medical marijuana. Where was Calabasas on the question of dispensaries for medical marijuana? Do you have them?
We do not. And the city of Calabasas, this is going to be one of the, people feel, well, we legalized marijuana,
Right.
and we did. And over the next couple of years, they're going to be coming up with the system of exactly how
Sure.
this works. But the individual cities are still in control of whether they
Yes.
want to have these facilities in their city.
The Riverside case that went to the Supreme Court, the California Supreme Court said, as a matter of land use, you can decide whether to have a dispensary, recreational, medical, whatever.
Right, and it's a very interesting question. Now, Calabasas to date has banned marijuana facilities, including medical marijuana facilities, and this is a question that'll come up not only in Calabasas but in towns,
What do you
all
think?
kinds of
I mean,
towns.
I can see both arguments. Do you want a medical or a marijuana sales storefront? I don't know, but if you don't have it, they're driving to Los Angeles and maybe driving back stoned back to Calabasas.
Well, yeah, in Calabasas' case, our supply is on Ventura Boulevard in Woodland Hills. There's like 7 dispensaries in the first mile.
Because Woodland Hills is in the city of Los Angeles.
Right, between the border of Calabasas and,
So,
so nobody's having any trouble getting medical marijuana if they want to get it. Having said that, the hesitancy was had to do with where do you
Right.
put it, what is it next to,
Right.
and then we were still living in a world where while medical marijuana was legal, the banks wouldn't have
course.
bank accounts. Where was it? It wasn't legal to grow it.
Please come back. I want to talk about this issue because it's an important one. His name is Fred Gaines. He is a councilman in Calabasas. I'm Brad Pomerance in the San Fernando Valley. Charter Local Edition.